Hi folks, and welcome to yet another edition of Aerial Observation Services online training. My name is Mike Hoffman, and I'll be leading you through this training exercise with me today. Today we're going to be talking about airspace, and more importantly, Canadian domestic airspace. Our airspace in Canada is divided into two distinct categories: northern domestic airspace and southern domestic airspace. Northern domestic airspace is airspace that is closely approximated to the northern magnetic pole. The Earth's lines of force dip vertically towards the pole, and the compass loses its ability to point the way. So therefore we do business slightly different in the northern domestic airspace region. In the northern domestic airspace, because of our close proximity to the magnetic North Pole, the Earth's lines of force dip vertically towards the pole, and therefore our magnetic compasses in our aircraft lose the ability to point the way. So therefore all aircraft that are operating in this airspace must fly at an altitude and flight level that is appropriate to their direction of flight as determined by true track calculations. Runway numbering and surface winds are all reported in true degrees in the northern domestic airspace. In the southern domestic airspace, all air traffic in level cruise flight in the southern domestic airspace must maintain an altitude or flight level that is appropriate to their direction in flight as determined by their magnetic track calculations. Airways and air routes are based on magnetic tracks. Airport runways are also numbered by their magnetic bearing. Surface winds are also reported in magnetic degrees in the southern domestic airspace. In controlled airspace in Canada, we have what we refer to as ATC service, or air traffic control services. And those services are available to provide separation for aircraft and put them under the control of the ATC unit. Therefore, we have a safe environment under which we can operate our aircraft. There's two different types of controlled airspace: high-level airspace and low-level airspace. You can follow along in section 2 of our AOS manual for remotely piloted aircraft systems. Airspace in Canada can be divided into Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D, and Class E airspace. Additionally, we also have Class F, or Special Use Airspace, which is further divided into two categories, both restricted and advisory. And last but certainly not least, we have Class G airspace, or what we refer to as uncontrolled airspace. To begin with, we have Class A airspace, or what we refer to as high-level airspace. In the southern control area, this airspace exists between 18,000 and 60,000 feet ASL. In the northern control area, this exists between 23,000 feet and 60,000 feet ASL. And in the Arctic control area, this area exists with between 27,000 and 60,000 feet ASL. Pilots that operate in Class A airspace must be IFR certified, and the aircraft that they fly must also be IFR certified. Also, aircraft that operate in this area must have a Mode C transponder and a pressure-sensitive altimeter that is capable of providing altitude reporting. Next, we have Class B airspace. This is what we refer to as mid-level airspace, or also what I like to refer to as transitional airspace. This airspace exists from 12,500 feet and up to but not including 18,000 feet ASL. Class B airspace can be identified on a VFR chart by the dark blue or magenta lines on the VFR chart. You can also find the information required to identify classified airspace by looking at your indices on your VFR chart. You'll notice that B airspace is only within radio range of large centers and includes low-level airways between 12,500 feet and 18,000 feet ASL. Also, to operate in Class B airspace, VFR flights must have entered a flight plan and must receive ATC clearance prior to entering. VFR aircraft must be equipped with two-way radio equipment, radio navigation equipment capable of using navigational facilities to enable the aircraft to operate in accordance with a flight plan, and also have to have a Mode C transponder on board. Next, we have Class C airspace. This is controlled airspace within which both IFR and VFR flights are permitted. VFR flights are required to have a clearance prior to entering the classified airspace. Within Class C airspace, VFR traffic are provided with traffic information, but it's still the pilot in command's responsibility to ensure traffic separation. Class C airspace becomes Class E airspace when the appropriate ATC unit is not in operation. While operating in Class C airspace, all aircraft must provide a listening watch and maintain that watch on the assigned radio frequency. A person may operate an aircraft that is not equipped with a functioning communication and transponder equipped aircraft in VFR flight in Class C airspace during daytime hours and with the appropriate permission obtained from the corresponding ATC unit. VFR aircraft must be equipped with a two-way radio and capable of communication with the appropriate ATC unit. At all times, they must maintain a listening watch on the appropriate assigned frequency by the ATC unit. Aircraft operating in Class C must also have a Mode C transponder. Next, we have Class D airspace. This is controlled airspace in which both IFR and VFR flights are permitted. But VFR flights must establish two-way radio communication with the ATC agency prior to entering the airspace. ATC separation is provided to IFR traffic only. Class D airspace becomes Class E airspace when the ATC unit is not in operation. An aircraft operating in Class D airspace shall be equipped with a two-way radio, a transponder with a Mode C when classified as transponder airspace. They also need to maintain a listening watch on the appropriate frequency. A person may operate an aircraft that is not radio equipped during daylight hours and with proper ATC permissions prior to entering Class D airspace. Next, we have Class E airspace, and this is a designated airspace where there's an operational need to provide control within the airspace, but it does not meet the requirements for Class A, B, C, or D airspace. Both IFR and VFR traffic are permitted within this airspace. ATC traffic separation is only provided to IFR traffic. Low-level airways, control area extensions, transition areas, or control zones established without an operating control tower may be classified as Class E airspace. Certain Class E airspace may be specified as a transponder zone, in which case the aircraft must be equipped with a Mode C transponder. Next, we have Class F airspace. Class F airspace is a defined area of dimensions in which activities must be confined because of their nature, and within which limitations may be imposed upon aircraft operations that are not part of the designated activities of the designated airspace. When areas classified as Class F airspace are inactive, they will assume the rules of the appropriate surrounding airspace. Special use or Class F airspace may be also further divided into two categories: advisory and or restricted. In Class F advisory airspace, non-participating aircraft are encouraged to avoid flight in the area. In Class F restricted airspace, no person shall conduct a flight without permission being obtained by the user or agency that has placed the restriction on the flight region. Next, but certainly not least, we have Class G airspace. And this is all uncontrolled domestic airspace. Class G airspace is airspace that ATC has neither the authority or responsibility for exercising control over the traffic that exists within that airspace. ATC units do not provide flight information and alerting services within the airspace. This is the airspace that recreational RPAS users can utilize to fly their aircraft.